Hi all, in this video we are going to see how to create an array of objects in Java. Suppose you need to create multiple objects of a same class, then we can use the array of object to hold the references of the multiple objects of same class. And in this use case, we want to create 5 students of the student class to hold the 5 student information like name, age, marks, and to perform the operation like display and to check how many of the students are passed in the subject with the mark greater than or equal to 50. And to start with, basically, every class is an object. First, we need to define a class. The class will have the data member and the function member. And here, I need to define the data member, string name, and the age and the marks. Then followed by, I need to define a display function. So this display function, I'm going to display the name and the marks. So system dot out dot println, I need to display the name and then followed by marks of the student. And now the class is ready. We are going with the main program or main class. There you need to define the array of objects. And to create the array of object, first we need to define the array. So here we need to create the array of size 5. And this step will just create an array, not the object. Now, to create an object, we need a new keyword with a constructor. So, we are using with I equal to 0, I less than s dot length, I plus plus, and we are going to create the object. To create the object, use the new keyword and followed by the constructor. And when we call this, it will call the default constructor and initialize the data members with the default value. But I need to write the user defined constructor which has to get the input from the user using scanner, the name, age, and the mark. And to get it, I'm going to write with system dot out dot println enter name followed with age and the marks for every student. And to get it, I'm going to get the first string value, that is name, that is sc dot next. And then I'm going to get with the integer age, and that I'm going to use with next int. And then followed by, I'm going to have with the marks. So int m is equal to se dot next int. So the three values I got from the user, and that I'm going to pass it to the constructor. Since it is a user defined constructor, I need to define this constructor inside the student class. And the rule of the constructor is constructor name is same as the class name. It does not have any return type and it should be returned inside the same class. And since I am going to pass with three variables, string, name, int, age, and int marks. And the variables whatever we are passing in the constructor is a local variable, and the variable whatever available inside the class is an instance variable. And to differentiate both of them, we need to use the this keyword. This keyword helps you to define the current instance of the object. So left side define the current instance of the object and the right side defines the local variable. And we define with this dot marks is equal to marks. So now we define the constructor. The last step, now we need to invoke the data member. And to invoke the data member, again I am using with the for loop s dot length I plus plus, calling every function using the array instance. I'm using the dot operator calling the data member. So now run your program. You need to enter 5 informations. Enter name, age, mark of the first student. So I'm going to enter James and his mark is 78. And the next student, then I'm going to give with the next student, that is 1980. Then I'm going to give the third student whose age and the mark. And then the fourth student, name and mark. and the last student I'm going to give with the value. So now all the student information is displayed. And the last logic I want to display, I need to know who are all got greater than or equal to 50, so their status will be displayed as passed. So I'm going with the method here. I'm going to write a method called as is passed. So it has to return a boolean value. So the return type I'm going to give a boolean. And every student mark I need to check it. So if the marks value is greater than or equal to 50, you need to return. Since the return type is boolean, we need to use the return keyword to display whether it is returning true or false. So else means return false. So now this logic also ready. So we need to go with the main program to check out of the 5 students who are all passed. So int I equal to 0, I less than s dot length I plus plus. Now I need to check it. S of I dot is passed. So it will return me a boolean value. So I'm going to use one temporary variable boolean to check that the student is passed or not. If the temporary variable is true, it means that the student is passed. So I need to use with system.out.println. Along with, I need to print the name of the student. So using the object instance dot the property name, followed by I need to give the status he is passed. So as a outset, first you need to define the class with the data member, function member and the relevant constructor. Then you need to create the object, this step, and the last step is you need to invoke the data members using the dot operator to call the corresponding functionalities. So now we run the code. We are just giving the input John 18, 90 mark, James 19, 34 marks. Then I have given with the next mark Jacob, and his age is 21 and he is having 34 mark. Then Kim 18, he is just having 45. And then final one Tom 19, he is having 89 marks. So now you can see here John is greater than 50, James is greater than 50, and also Tom is greater than 50. So all these three student status will be displayed as passed. I hope you got a clear idea how to use the array of object to store multiple objects of the same class. Thank you.